NBA 2K18 tutorial number 63. Today we're going to talk about how to do pick and rolls. So we'll be using one of the top playsets that I actually love using in this year's game. I haven't shown you guys this one, but it's awesome. Because what it does is it further maximizes the potential of any and all wing pick and rolls that you decide to run throughout the course of the game. So make sure you add this to your arsenal, because it's going to turn up your overall offensive efficiency on the pick and roll alongside the wings to another level. So I'm going to show you guys the gameplay settings as always, and make sure everything is the same, because these are very niche and minor detail. If you don't have it exactly the same, it's not going to play out exactly the way I show you in all of my tutorials, but they've been the same all year long. So just if you're not familiar, those are the settings. And yes, it's the Celtics playbook. The play itself is a pick and roll ball handler play, so you need to have a pick and roll ball handler guy to do it, or you can just assign them to play if you can. It's actually called a Fist 3-5 Horns Quick, and like I said, one of the best wing pick and roll play sets in the game. So the first option you get is obviously the baseline reverse, but the best thing about this play set, about the baseline reverse, is that you automatically get a screen going to the baseline without having to touch any of the buttons. A lot of the time, when you guys are trying to run the ring pick and roll that I teach you to go for this reverse, you have to manually call for the pick, and you have always have to switch the screen side, because 2K doesn't automatically send you a pick that sends you to the baseline. You have to always switch it, and you have to always try to get it from the center or the big man. But this one is a playset that triggers that perfect wing pick and roll, the screen, that sends you directly at the baseline. So you can actually focus on the rest of your time getting the ball handler or the guy who receives the pass at the right angle. You can just go, because that pick always comes at that angle, sending you to the baseline every time. And there's a reverse dunk by Kawhi, because he's just good like that. So that's why this is perfect. And obviously, if a reverse is not needed, don't do a reverse, because you're gonna get blocked if it's not needed and you just force it for like no reason. Right? You see this? Just go. If you have the layup available to you, do not hesitate, do not trigger a reverse, because if when you don't need it and you do it for like no reason at all, you will get blocked or you will get jammed up by the animation. So when it's open like this, slow it down, get the guy on your back, just throw up a normal layup, get that and one. Beautiful work by Kawhi Leonard. I was actually very surprised he had pick and roll ball handler place by default, so that's awesome for Kawhi. And obviously you can see from the playset, it actually starts out with this initial down screen. If the guy is open out of this down screen, because I'm calling it for Kyrie here, right? So you always bring it up with the guy who is not running the play. You see, if the down screen is open, just shoot it. So another good thing about this playset is, like I said, you bring it up with the guy that is not involved in the play on the primary option. So I'm calling it for Kawhi, so I bring it up with Tony, and Kawhi is open off this down screen, so just don't hesitate, shoot it right away. And obviously though, if you have decided to take the shot, so once again I'm bringing it with Parker, calling it for Kawhi. If you're taking the shot, you're taking a gamble, because sometimes, because it's 2K, or it's just because it's basketball, even if you're wide open, good release, you'll clank it. So do you want to go baseline? Do you want to shoot the free? Up to you, but that's something you decide on. The free is a gamble. And you will also get a lot of corner jumpers, because like I said, if the reverse is not there, don't force it, do the layup. If the layup and the reverse is not there, don't force those. Just kick it to the opposite corner if they bring help from that guy, because the other big man on that corner is gonna be open if the defense try to take away your layup and your reverse layup option. So this is a very important read. Like, you see how the paint is congested because LaMarcus came in to help. Don't delay, kick it to the opposite big and just shoot it. So obviously you need a stretch four or someone who can shoot the mid-range. And now, depending on the freelance you ran, with the Celtics I was running pace, with the Spurs I was running kind of this swing option. So you see how LaMarcus doesn't venture too far? That's because of the spacing of the freelance, so that depends on what you're running, but it still works because you're going to be open. And another option out of this wing pick and roll, so we're calling it for Kawhi, we go to him with the pass, and if the roll man is open, in this case it's LaMarcus, because they're doubling the drive, kick it to him. It's all about read and react in this playset. The reverse is the primary option, and it's the strongest one. But it is not the only option, because the defense will actually try to take away a lot of your options while you're running this. But there are too many options, so they can't take everything away. If you can make the right read, they give up the roll, they bring the help, I go to the roll man, they bring help again, so that I kick it to the opposite corner. Right? That's basketball. That's how you have to use this playset. It's strong, but you gotta be able to use it correctly. And like, if you come off that screen really well, you can also do what I taught you in tutorial 54. The whole turbo step back. You see how Kyrie do that there, and I made Tony Parker just get lost, and I was able to beat him. So I'm bringing with Tatum, call it for Kyrie. That's what always happens. You gotta call it for the guy who wants you to do it for, but don't bring it up with the guy you want the play to set up for. So same thing again, the step back, and this time we still hit it, even though it's lightly contested. But of all the options that are available to you, this is probably the risky as one of them all, because it is a step back mid-range jumper. So even if you're open, you might miss it. So something you have to deal with, but that is another option. And something I love to do that takes a lot of stick skills and patience is what I call it the step back pass. So you see, I catch it with Kyrie, I use that wing screen, I step back, and I pass it. Because the step back really draws in the defenders because they think you're shooting. So if you step back and hit the roll man, that's smooth 2K basketball. And of all those options you see, you can actually add a handoff to everything. So instead of passing it to Kyrie, I decided to hand it off to him with Tatum, who's my player initiator. And once you hand it off, the play actually doesn't break. So this means you are actually able to access all of the options that I showed you earlier that came out of just a regular pass. So from these clips, you can see I'm handing it off to the playmaker every time with the initiator, and I just go from there. Now this wing pick and roll is actually more middle focused because of the way it's done. Because once you hand it off to the guy, he's gonna be above the break. He's gonna be above the top of the key more so than the sidelines and the wing area. But the screen is still set the same where the guy, you see how Baines Cup sends me to the corner? So this turn is even sharper. I actually prefer to do this with the handoff option more than the pass. But obviously, if you do this with the handoff trigger, you will lose the option of getting that initial catch and shoot free. But the percentages of getting that is not too high, so I actually like this handoff. I can fake the action, go back this way, the defense doesn't know which way I'm coming from, and I can shoot the J, and it's all of the same options again. Always read and react. Do not use this while having a predetermined result in your head. You gotta be able to read the defense and go to the options that are available to you, because you will get a good option. It just depends on where that option is. If you make that right read, there's a step back pass again. Nasty. And here are some clips that I want to show you guys because I don't want you to force. If you don't force and you don't find the right pass, you want to find the right pass, but if you force it, you're gonna have these negative results. You see here, I should have kicked it to Powell, but I forced the layup, so I missed it. So that's me missing a read, and I deserve to miss it because I read it wrong. Same thing again, I kick it to Kawhi, I used the screen, and I should have kicked it, but I forced the reverse, so I get blocked. If you force reverses, they're gonna get blocked, because if they bring help from the corner defender, you gotta kick it to the corner. You cannot force that. And here you can see me force it again. This time I forced a bad pass. I should have went up, or I should have kicked it to the further corner. Then I kicked it to the short corner, so that's also bad. Here's a handoff option for Kawhi, and I go and I turn. Everything looks good, but I try to force a dunk instead of kicking to LaMarcus, and I get shoved and blocked. So don't do that. Make the right reads, and if the play doesn't yield a good shot with the first option, play basketball. So here, you see, nothing. I couldn't get that baseline, I couldn't get the reverse, but the spacing of the play is so good. I can do a post-up, no post-up, I go back to Kawhi, and I switch it around, and I throw it down hard with correct spacing and correct momentum. You can see it here again. I'm bringing it with Jalen, calling it for Kyrie, because he's the only guy that has pick-and-roll ball handler on the Celtics right now. So I swing it back to him, and I'm using this wing screen for sure. So I use it. Now I'm playing and reacting this. It didn't really work out, so then I call it back and I run it again. But the spacing holds true. I get what I need, and I'm not gonna force that layup. I'm not gonna force the drive. Just gonna pull up when they give me the space sort. It's all about reading and reacting, family. That's why this play is so fun, because it's random options and it's how you read it. So if you don't make the right read, you will probably get hurt, because it is quite congested where you're bringing the ball to, because you're bringing the ball to the baseline, to the sideline area, where the baseline is actually acts as an extra defender, and you're doing a pick and roll. So you're bringing in the other big man defender too. So it's a crowded space, but it's good space, good speed. If you find the right things, you will get good results. And this is a nasty isolation reverse by Kyrie over Kawhi. So, in conclusion, make sure you practice this. I consider this a very useful 2K play, because it forces you to read things. It's just not like it's either you get an open free or you get an open drive. It's not that kind of play set, right? This is a fully read and react play set, And if you call this a couple of times, you will actually see how the defense like to play you and where they like to bring help from. In an online scenario, you can also actually you can actually get to see where the other user likes to play help defense, or just how he likes to play pick and roll on the sides. That's really valuable knowledge to get throughout the course of the game. So make sure you run this playset. Very, very efficient. It's all about reading and reacting. It's just good for basketball IQ, and it's good for you to scout out the defense to see what they like to do, and that's a nasty, nasty reverse. So as always, family, thanks for coming by. Always appreciate your support, and also appreciate all the people who sponsored and donated to me. Thanks for keeping this channel going with your donations. I really appreciate that. So shout out to the donators for sponsoring me on YouTube Gaming. Thanks. I really appreciate that. So that means a lot to me. So as always, thanks for coming, and I'll see all of you next time.